First one we're going to do, first term.
14y prime.
Correct. Plus.
It's negative, cosine, 3 cosine. Yeah.
Why is there a 3 on the outside?
Because this is
Chain rule. Derivative of the inside equals negative 4y cubed y. And now you're just doing algebra. So it's 14y y prime plus 4y cubed y prime is equal to negative 3 cosine 3x.
Wait, so...
Yeah. So you get y prime is equal to negative 3 cosine 3x all over 14y plus 4y cubed. And you are...
No, it's minus.
What? What'd I do wrong?
It's no, plus?
Plus what?
No, I messed up.
Oh, that's right. I'm right, you're wrong. That's why I teach. And it'll make more sense later, okay? Yeah, sorry, it wasn't. Good. So it's stop touching each other. X squared plus 2y times the derivative of the inside. What's the derivative of the inside going to be? 2x plus 2y prime plus, and what are we going to have to use on this? Product rule. That's right. We're going to have to use the product rule. What's the derivative of the first? 1 times the second. Correct?
Yeah.
Plus x times the derivative of this, which is going to be e to the y squared times 2y y prime. And that equals what? 0. Number one easiest way to mess these up. What's the derivative of a constant? 0. If you don't, the simplification doesn't work too well. You end up having a lot of things that don't cancel. So now what's our goal? What are we isolating? We're just in algebra. Now we have to multiply by, and I'm going to do this in a couple steps, the derivative in terms of x of x squared y. We're not going to do it out yet. Equals 3 plus 2y y prime. So let's do that derivative. What rule do you have to use here? The product rule, because it's it's two things multiplied together. So the secant squared stays there. X squared y to the fourth times what? The derivative of the first times the second plus the first times the derivative of the second. 4y cubed y prime equals this thing. And at this point, do we have any calculus left? No. Now it's just algebra. Yeah, we used that before, Ninja. It's just algebra right now. Yes.
What happens if it's like 2y? What's the derivative of that? Just
2y prime.
2y prime.
Correct. Now it's just algebra. I'm not going to do it
Now
out.
it's nothing, just algebra.
I don't understand everything except where the y primes come from.
Once again, I'm going to say for the 1,000,000th time, y is in terms of f of x. D dx of x is 1, but d dx of this is y prime. Okay. Just got to believe it. Just got to believe it. Here we go. So, we need to use implicit differentiation. So let's use, what do we get? 4x
Oh, your projector is struggling.
cubed. Yeah, because I'm kicking my cable.
Oh.
4x cubed
Plus 2y
plus 2y y prime equals
0.
0. Correct. What does x equal? 4 1 cubed plus 2 negative root 2 y prime is equal to 0. So you know that negative 2 root 2 y prime is going to be equal to negative 4. So y prime is going to be equal to 4 over 2 root 2, which is the same thing as 2 over root 2, which is the same thing as 2 root 2 over 2, which is root 2. So we have the point and the slope, so it's y minus negative root 2 is equal to x minus, times, what's the slope? Root 2 times x minus what? 1. That's what I would do, and yes, the simplification is not 100% necessary, but I'm just showing you how you can make it super clean. Y squared is equal to 3 minus, so y is equal to plus or minus the square root of 3 minus x to the fourth. The thing is, what's the point we're looking at? 1 comma negative root 2, correct? So when you plug in 1, you're supposed to get negative root 2. So which one is that going to be? The negative one, right? You know you're dealing with that. This point is on here. So let's take the derivative of this one. It's going to be y prime is equal to negative 1/2, 3 minus x to the fourth to the what power?
Negative 1/2.
Sorry, it's what? Okay, this is equal to, everybody, negative 3 minus x to the fourth to the 1/2. Times what? Negative
4th 4x cubed.
4x cubed. Exactly, right? You agree with that? What do we plug in now? We just plug in 1 for x. So y prime at an x value of 1 is going to be negative a half, 2 to the negative a half, times what? Negative 4. So that's going to be 2 times 1 over the square root of 2, which we've already figured out to be. Is that the same slope we got before? Either way, they're different in different terms of complexity. This is, I think, better and easier, in my opinion, than this. There's more opportunities to make mistakes here. The key step here is realizing you have to take the negative one. You know you have to take the negative one because this point is on this function. If you took the positive one, is that point on the positive one? No, it's not. Here's something that implicit differentiation actually helps us do. This is really actually very, very helpful. Let's say I gave you this function right here. Sine y is equal to x. Let's say I gave you that. And then I asked you, what is y prime equal to? We have two ways of doing that. We have regular differentiation and we have implicit differentiation. If we use implicit differentiation, we can just differentiate right now. If we wanted to use regular differentiation, what would we need to do first? Get y by itself. Can someone tell me what y is? Y is equal to? Sine inverse of x. So you know that y prime is equal to d dx of sine inverse of x. The real question, though, is we've run into a new wall. What is the derivative of sine inverse? We know what it is from the book, but the question is, where does that come from? That's what we're getting at here. So if you do straight in differentiation like this, you hit this wall, and we can't answer this question. But let's use the second method. If we use implicit differentiation instead, what's the derivative of sine? Cosine y, and what do we have to multiply by? Y prime, and that's going to equal what? 1. So what does y prime equal? 1 over cosine y. We're not, well, hold on. We're going to keep going here. As a side note, can you tell me what cosine squared y plus sine squared y is equal to? 1. You agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go back up here for a sec. What does x equal? It's right here. It's the first thing we started with. What does x equal? So we know that cosine squared y plus x squared is equal to what? 1. Are you there with me so far? So what does cosine squared y equal? 1 minus. So what does cosine y equal?
Square root of 1 minus x squared.
Square root of 1 minus. Yeah, well, let's keep that in the back of your head. We're taking the positive one for now. Just keep that in the back of your head. I'll just tell you right now we only want the positive one, but just don't worry about that for now, okay? I'm letting you just smooth that out and ignore it, okay? We know that cosine y is equal to 1 minus x squared, so where can we plug that in? So what does y prime equal?
1 over 1 minus x squared to the 1/2.
Yeah, 1 minus x squared. What we just figured out is this, everybody. What do we know y equals? Sine of? It's right there. What is y equal to? Sine inverse of x, right? So what did we just figure out? The derivative of sine inverse x is equal to 1 over the square root of 1 minus x squared. That is the derivative of sine inverse. That's what you're going to see in your book. Now that's what the derivative of sine inverse is. Are there going to be similar results for the derivative of cosine, tangent, cotangent, secant, and cosecant? Yes. Do you have to memorize them? Absolutely. Do you need to memorize how to find them? No. You need to remember that you use implicit differentiation to find them, but do you need to know how to No. It's like the trig derivatives. Do you need to know those cold? Yes. Do you need to know your trig inverse derivatives cold? Yes, you do. You will not be able to score well on the AP test unless you know these, because here's the problem. This is the kind of thing you either totally recognize and know, or you totally don't know and can't go anywhere. You're going to be cruising along doing some algebra, and you're literally going to get to something like this. You're going to get to this, and you're like, I can't do anything with that. But if you know your trig derivatives, you're going to immediately recognize that as the derivative of inverse sine. If you don't recognize it, you don't go very far on the question. So we know that cosine squared y is equal to 1 minus sine squared y. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So we'll just take the positive for now and see if this comes out. It's 1 minus this, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So, hold on a sec. Here's the problem, everyone. Let me pause.